All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. You know, the other day, I was interviewed about a Common Sense radio program that airs out of Memphis, Tennessee, with Jim White and his colleague. I'm going to break this down into four parts. We talk about the social, political, the economic front that is going on here in this country. And we delved in the first two segments very, very heavily into world events and politics. So you may want to give an ear and listen. And what I'll do is I'll give a little time in between loading these segments. But I'll load this first segment up right here. And each segment is probably about 12 minutes, maybe 13 minutes, at most 13 minutes long. And so that way, you don't have to sit there and try to listen to the whole thing at once, but you can get a good grasp of what's going on. And you can also break these down and choose to share them with whoever you like, because the information that is contained in this particular interview is very, very vital and very important. Number one, the political fabric that is actually going on in our country, as well as these constant attacks that we continually keep experiencing. And then they asked me in the last two segments about what should we do? What can we do to turn this thing around? And what can we do to change our environment? I answer all these questions and more. So, hey, if you want to, it's up to you. All right. Check out these. But my suggestion is, and if you would, share these. Share it on Facebook. You can use these, forget the copyrights, whatever it is and stuff. You have permission to use this particular material any way you want in order to help get the word out. So this is Pastor Dowell. I'm being interviewed by the Common Sense radio program, and it's airing out of Memphis, Tennessee. It aired in Memphis, Tennessee, 7 p.m. Last night. That's on a Tuesday. Y'all be encouraged. I hope that some way, somehow, that I'm able to help stimulate thought. I'd ask that you vote on this, make a comment, and let's try to get a good, healthy dialogue going, because if we don't speak about these issues and things that are going on, more people are going to be illiterate, ignorant, and going to perish because of it. Enjoy the radio program.
Welcome to another exciting edition of the Common Sense Show. Dave Hodges and James White here. We are the hosts of the Common Sense Show, brought to you by TalkNetwork.com. Our sponsor is foodforliberty.com/Hodges, where we still have wonderful deals on the grab-and-go bucket, 76 tasty meals, 6 months same as cash, and organic powdered milk, which is a great supplement to anyone's survival, storage, food supply. Again, that is foodforliberty.com/Hodges. Well, we have a really special broadcast for you today, and we have a special guest. And to introduce our guest, I'm going to throw it over to James White. Jim?
Thanks, Dave. Yes, we are delighted today to have my good friend, Pastor Charles Dowell from Straightway Truth Fellowship, here with us today on the broadcast. I've interviewed the good pastor numerous times, and we've covered just a wide variety of topics, the full gamut like we're going to do today. He has a great amount of YouTube videos, a great presence on YouTube. His message is one of truth and one of fearing the Most High and turning people around and turning their eyes back towards where it belongs. And that's on, as I said, on the Most High. And he's a good friend of mine. I consider him a very good friend, and delighted to have him here in the broadcast. So without further delay, Pastor Charles Dowell, thanks for being here with us today on Common Sense Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored, blessed and honored to be here today, and let's hope and pray that we have a good, productive show that maybe we can help some people out there, the information going forward, and bring about some edification, and just maybe it will have enough impact upon someone's life to get them to change course and really truly start discerning and evaluating where we are in these times to get themselves ready for the days ahead.
Well, Pastor, I'm going to kick this off here. I'm not going to pull any punches. We're just going to go straight to the point because I know you're a straight to the point kind of fella. We're told to love our neighbor. But I tell you something, Pastor, I have a struggle. I have a hard time loving someone that wants to cut my head off and subjugate my family and my women. Does it come a point where we're not really supposed to love these people that want to kill us? Are we? I mean, where do we have to stand on that with these ISIS and these terrorists that want to do us harm?
I think there's the problem with all of us being reared here in America is that we've come up under the wrong theology, definitely a misunderstanding of what the Scriptures is actually saying. When the Scriptures talking about love thy neighbor as thyself, it's talking about those who are in the faith with you. It's talking about those who are Israelites, those who are in the faith. It's not talking about your enemy around the corner. All we have to do is just look at ancient Israel, and we see over and over and over again that the Most High avenged them many, many times. And David was a man of war. They continually battled those that was around them, especially those who wanted to do injustices to them. Some of their enemies were the Moabites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Hivites. We can continue to go on and on. Well, if we fast forward that till today, to this point where we're at today, same thing applies. Everybody in this world that claims to be your neighbor is not your neighbor. As a matter of fact, they act more like enemies. So what we need to do is properly apply the proper method of interpretation in Scripture and then make it fit, make ourselves fit what the Scripture says, rather than trying to square the way we have culturally been brought up and trying to get this culture to understand what the Scripture says. So anyone that does you any evil or any injustices, they are just simply not your neighbors.
Interesting. So technically speaking, we're supposed to hate evil, and we're supposed to try to fight evil on every front. So, I mean, it's a righteous, in your mind, do you think it's a righteous war to battle these people, these ISIS, wherever they go? We have to stand up against them. We have to raise a standard against this evil, do we not, Pastor?
Well, sure we do. I think more than anything, what people need is a background how ISIS, or what is commonly referred to as ISIL, was started. Some time ago, the United States of America, along with NATO and their alliances, they were actually battling the Al-Qaeda. And then all of a sudden, up pops out of nowhere this little faction called ISIL, or ISIS. Most of the American people are not aware that the United States of America is the one who actually funded ISIL. They are the ones who actually got them started in order to overthrow Assad over in Syria. Well, this is the same dog and pony show, the same carnival that we've always been aware of. The United States raises up Saddam Hussein, then they bring him down. They help Omar Gaddafi over there in Libya, then they bring him down. We have a history of raising up factions for our own bidding and to do our own doing, and then when they no longer fit our criteria, we want to bring them down. And so now what has happened is the ISIL, or the ISIS, that was actually started by the United States of America to overthrow Assad, is actually now went against the best wishes or the wishes of the United States of America. Now you have Vladimir Putin, who's actually over there trying to diffuse this particular faction that has went rogue against the United States of America and is putting forth the illusion that they are actually with us. And I'm talking about the Russians when really, truly they're not. Because Russia does not want Assad overthrown. Russia is an ally to Syria, as well as China and other nations that actually is not with the United States of America. But at the same time, they are in agreement, since ISIL is no longer being funded by the United States of America and they don't went their own way and stuff. It's in the best interest of America to actually get rid of this faction, because there's no way that we can actually continue the empire building if we're going to fund people and pay them all kind of money to actually to go and destroy our enemy, and then they end up turning on us. And that is actually what is taking place right now, is that it's done backfired on us. I said some time ago that we're actually done stirred up a hornet's nest when we went over there meddling around in the East rather than minding our own business. A lot of these things that American public has actually been led to believe by the misinformation that's been given out by mainstream news media has done nothing but dupe and deceive them. And, of course, they do need the court of public opinion to be with them in order for them to keep their offices. But we are definitely being lied to by the mainstream news media and some of the alternative sources that are out there. What we need to do is we need to really, truly wake up and understand that we're in the empire building. That's what we're all about. And anytime somebody doesn't do the bidding the way that we have it, then they turn against us and they become enemies, not only enemies of us, but enemies of NATO. Now, what happened with this all is, and of course, I'm sure we already know about the attack that took place in France. Now we have a bad situation taking place here in America where you have cities like Chicago saying that they're going to grant asylum to all of these refugees. And that means that they can come into this country and flood in this country like they have in France and other places, and nobody is giving them any background checks. We just are letting these people in. And what better way for a terrorist to be able to come into the United States of America is to come in undetected by posing as a Syrian refugee, which we have decided in certain cities that we're going to give them quarter and we're going to give them asylum. And the next thing you know, we have all these crazy attacks, like these attacks that went forth the other day in San Bernardino, California. I think we're looking at something that's just going to be standard operating procedure simply because of the policy that has been set forth by the politicians here in the United States of America.
Pastor, where do you see, or what do you see as the underlying motivation of what's happening in San Bernardino? And where do you see the terrorism activities in this country headed?
Well, it's all headed towards restricting guns from us. It's all about bringing forth new gun laws. I believe that personally, Obama and his administration has never stopped, no matter what they say, actually going after the guns here in America. I just got a news clip sent to me by someone that Obama is going to actually bring forth some type of new policy to where they're going to restrict guns even more so. It's amazing. As I begin to think about this, especially the Constitution here in America that was given to us, drafted us by the Founding Fathers, who, for the sole purpose of us being able to actually to keep and to bear arms, not only to protect ourselves, not only was it used for hunting and stuff, but to actually to protect ourselves from a government that is literally tyrannical against the citizens. Out in San Bernardino, California, you have two people. The news media is all messed up. They thought it was three. All of a sudden, they go on this shooting spree and kill 14-something people. And, of course, then the police catch them, too. But you notice the bizarre behavior that is taking place and happening in this country? Every single place in America that is a gun-free zone, crime has literally increased. And every place in America where there's not a gun-free zone, where the citizens have rights and they're not restricted to keep and bear arms, the crime has actually decreased. So there's an agenda to disarm America like they have England, like they have Australia, and many of these other countries. We are the last bastion of freedom here and liberty in the world. And we actually need to wake up as a whole and start to really, truly open up our eyes and wake up and see what's really going on. These people are after the only thing that's going to ensure our liberties, which is us being able to protect ourselves from any tyrant, and that's after the guns.
Pastor, I think what the clipping you were speaking of is how Obama wants to put together, much like the no-fly list, a no-buy list for gun owners. And the people that get put on this list, it's arbitrary. There's really no due process. There's no way to object. And it's practically impossible to get off these lists once you get on them. And most people, unfortunately, don't realize even why they're on the list. Pastor, we got about a minute and a half left in this segment. I'd like for you to give out your websites before we go through the break. But on the other side of the break, there's something we haven't had a chance to talk about here that's been quite popular here is Donald Trump. Now, I know that you probably have a viewpoint on Donald Trump, an opinion on him. And I don't know what that is. We haven't talked about this at all. We haven't had a chance to speak about it. But when we come back on the other side of the break, I'd like to talk about Donald Trump. But before we do that, we got about a minute left. Tell us a little bit about your websites and about the work that you do there at the Straightway Truth Fellowship.
Sure. I actually am instrumental in trying to help develop communities in order to do whatever I can to get people free from the system. If you'd like to find more information out about what we're doing, you can find it out at www.straightwaytruth.org. straightwaytruth.com, and it is spelled StraightwayTruth.com. That's straightwaytruth.com. And of course, you can also contact me and actually see what I blog or make videos on almost on a daily basis at YouTube, which is just simply Pastor Dowell, last name Dowell.
All right, great, Pastor. Thanks so much. We hope you stick around with us after this break here with Pastor Charles Dowell and myself and Dave Hodges from the Common Sense Show. We'll be talking about Donald Trump and many other things here on TalkNetwork.com. We'll see you after these messages.